with Mike Reiss joining us.
Yeah.
Here at Gillette Stadium. Mike.
Get some chili to some, Mike.
How we doing, bud?
Doing great, Beetle.
What's
great
with
to be with you.
What's with the Jets green today?
I don't know. I was all dressed up. I wanted to get more comfortable. It was the first thing I grabbed.
No, it looks very comfortable.
It's okay.
It's just it's weird coming
Wrong
off a win against the Jets that you'd wear the Jets jacket here today.
Bad planning on my part.
Yeah, a little bit. But why don't we
be better?
Why don't we get into that Jets game then? It feels appropriate given the attire.
Let's go. I want to say happy birthday to our guy, Tommy.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Happy birthday.
Appreciate that.
It's great.
Is this mine?
Yeah, that's you. That's you. So what's going on, Beetle? So, Tim, we feeling good?
I think so.
I came in with some stuff. Should I give it to you?
Right to it, man.
All right. So
what do you think?
So I'm going to go back 25 years to the Patriots locker room, and I was a young reporter, and I loved talking to Anthony Pleasant. Do you remember him? A defensive lineman.
Yeah.
And he was
98.
I believe in his when he got here, I believe Bill would give him Mondays off no matter what, so that he could go home and then come back on Wednesdays.
Him
right?
and Roman Pfeiffer, maybe.
Was it those two guys?
Yeah,
those
maybe in that. That's right.
Vets who got special privileges in the early days?
That's right. And those guys were great to talk to as a young reporter, just teaching you a lot about the game. And what I remember Anthony Pleasant said was, when you win, it's easy to sweep things that could get you beat under the rug because of the result, and when you lose, it's easy to focus on those things because you had the result.
Sure.
So the key, Anthony Pleasant used to say, was, can you treat the wins the same way you would the losses, right? And so I came in today with my 3 things that I think could hold the Patriots back, that maybe we're not talking about because they've won 8 in a row, and they're rolling. It's exciting. So it's a little bit of it comes across as negative, but I really feel like I present it like Anthony Pleasant did back in the day, to say, because even when you're winning, there's always things to address. So my number 1 is anyone else concerned the last 2 weeks about the run defense? Like, this run defense that did not allow a running back 50 yards in the first 9 games, the last 2 opponents are averaging 5 yards a carry, and they're the defensive theme of building a wall, setting the edge, and swarming. I feel like we've seen cracks in the armor the last 2 weeks, and so I'm thinking big here. They're 9-2, tied for the best record, and you want to see them get the number 1 seed, and you got Josh Allen down the line, you got Lamar Jackson, and so I think the run defense is something that they need to tighten up. So that's my number 1. I don't know if you think I'm being too harsh.
No, I mean, you faced a quarterback that in 2 games didn't throw for over 50 yards. And his forte was running. And they just let him run everywhere. I'm not going to say they let him. He did it. Credit to him a little bit. Maybe it's a short week. But the in-game adjustment just wasn't there to shut him down.
And I feel like that I mean, maybe it's a little negative. I mean, with Josh Allen and Lamar Jackson running quarterbacks up next.
Negative, just report the facts.
So I get that. That's number 1. Number 2, just say red zone offensively, some good, but I think they're I think I'll check it in a second. I think they're about 65% touchdown rate, which is middle of the pack in the league. And, I think we saw some good things in this last game, Beetle, when they pushed Henderson over the goal line, and that great scheme by Josh McDaniels to line Stefon Diggs up in the backfield when they threw it to Travion. But then they get the turnover. There was a gift.
Couldn't punch it in,
and they're 3 and out. And so I think that still looms for me. Can they punch it in? And that we're going to get coming down the home stretch. Margin for error is going to be thinner against the in the even talk playoffs. So that's number 2. And number 3 is 1 turnover forced over the last 3 games, and it was basically gifted to him by a quarterback who had a low snap that sort of fumbled it around a little bit. They gotta get those turnovers cooking again. So those are my Anthony Pleasant sort of 3 things that, if you're in the meeting room and you're saying, what can we do better? What could hold us back that were on my mind? You think too harsh, Beetle?
No, I don't. And I think that the concerns on this team are of their defense and not their offense. And we were talking about it earlier. It's the inverse of what we thought it would be. We thought the defense would be the thing that would be the point you could sort of stick to and say they'll keep themselves always in games because they're going to have a really good defense. Now I think we say, well, they're a hard out, and they've got a quarterback who can make big plays, explosive plays, and can score quickly, and that will keep them in games and keep them in it because they can mount a comeback in games, which is different from where we thought we'd be when we were talking about this team in July.
And then the Milton Williams injury, which I know you guys have talked about. Yeah. You know, that run defense point, you take him out of the mix, that's arguably your best defensive player, so can Christian Barmore, Kyrus Tonga as your two top guys now. I thought Kyrus has been good. I thought this last game probably not his best. And then, you know, I'm thinking to myself, how much of that's Thursday night? How much do you read into Thursday night? I generally try not to read too much into it. And then behind them, Joshua Farmer, Corey Durden, Eric Gregory playing his first game. Like, those guys are going to need to step up until you get Milton Williams back, and that he's going to miss those two games, you know, specifically against Buffalo and Baltimore. I think that's a little bit of a concern. But overall, I would say, I'm going to contradict myself. The fact we're even in this position and the way Drake is playing, I thought that was unbelievable the other night. His pocket presence, the way he protected the ball. So this is like crazy to see the jumps he's taken this season, and to think that in week one we were talking about, is there too much on his plate? And now, you know, he's right there. I'm writing up a piece for ESPN about MVP and why he should win it, maybe why he wouldn't. I mean, I thought he was great the other night.
He was, and like my buddy Ted Johnson, he was on TV the other night, and he said, Drake Maye's the best quarterback in the NFL right now. And I sat there, I paused it, and I'm like, Mahomes Allen. People are starting to believe that. This is real. This is a real thing that is. It's just how, like, I keep looking at, like, how we get the best odds to have the best record at the end of the year in the entire NFL. Like, that's on DraftKings. These are all things that are posted. Like, we're getting to the end of the line here. People are recognizing it, talking about it, and he's unfazed by it.
Did you
young kids get rattled by it? Like, oh man, and like he gets his balls broken all the time by guys. Nah, you're the MVP. You're the MVP. His oh golly gee shucks attitude and delivery and persona really helps him here. Like, if you're doing this to Jackson Dart, you're getting every head slap and dance he's doing or celebratory thing. Drake just goes and plays well and does something better every week.
Did I hear you say, Beetle, that you think Drake is more Mahomes-like than Allen-like?
Yes.
And what was that? Was that from way back, or was that from this last game? Like, what made you say that? Because I had a thought as I was rewatching it.
I said it a couple of weeks ago.
Yeah.
That the comps to Allen don't make sense. That he's not Josh Allen.
I think it's the footwork.
And he's more of a Mahomes player in terms of his mobility. The way they use him, the way he runs is more similar to Mahomes. And some of the plays that he extends the life of are very similar to what Mahomes does.
So I thought of what you said.
That's not designed run. You don't design run up the middle with Drake Maye. That's not what they do with him. That's what you do with Josh Allen.
I thought of you as I'm rewatching the game, because sometimes the plays, like, you're watching it live, you're like, oh, that's a nice play, and then you watch it over again on the coach's film or whatever, however you rewatch it.
So let me guess, you watched the play to Diggs on the sideline. You said, "There's Patrick Mahomes."
I said more, "Damn, Beetle, he knows what he's talking about."
Of course I do.
I was like, that is Mahomes. And I looked at, it was more the defender's body language. Like, the two defenders,
they're stuck,
converge on Drake. And afterwards, like, you see their shoulders
defeated.
just sort of, like, they were defeated because they're like.
Breaks your soul.
Yes.
That's what happens.
Yeah. Your soul.
It breaks your football soul, some of the plays. Whether it's a big third down run or a guy who looks like he's on his way out of bounds and he dumps it off, and it's defeating is what it is. You feel defeated after a guy does that to you.
What do you see? That's one of the plays we broke down with X's and O's and Vrabel. What do you see the rear angle from it? Where he gets the two defenders to freeze, and it's actually Kyle Williams is coming open from left to right. He could have got it to him, but Diggs saw him and settled. Like, it's two guys on a different plane, platitude, stratosphere, whatever the hell you want to call it, just going out there and making plays.
And I have one other thought is, as I'm rewatching it, the protection up front, they have started the same line 10 out of 11 games.
That's great.
And I think you see the continuity show up. Now, I know the Jets didn't have Quinnen Williams. They traded him, and maybe not the most ferocious front. They're pretty assignment sound. And as I'm watching the game over,
Their ability to pass guys on games and twists.
the highest compliment I could say was I'm watching it over, and I'm like, this looks like a Dante Scarnecchia coached unit. Like Drake looks so comfortable in that game. And I want to oversell it because it's not perfect, but I just feel like when you can protect and get the ball downfield, like they make these 20-yard plays look routine, like pitch and catch. And
Drake still took a few shots in this game. So
he's going to take them.
yeah,
He's going to take him, Beetle. But I felt like,
it's better than it was last year or the year before.
but that bar was pretty low.
Right.
I was very impressed by what I saw up there.
I think if we're going to open up the conversation about long term, this team still has a lot of needs. We were talking today, the Diggs situation, it's not a long-term plan. The Bradbury situation, not a long-term plan. Morgan Moses at right tackle, not a long-term plan. They have a lot of stopgap solutions on this roster, and specifically on offense, that there could be changeover there next year. We don't have to talk about that today.
I'll
It's
talk
just-
about that now.
It's just something I think about. Like that, that's like Mike Compton being out there, Mike, to give you
I
a
like that.
throwback
Good.
name.
Another
Mike,
good throwback
that's
name.
not a
Number
long
77.
That's not a long-term solution.
Bulkhead.
It's working for now, but that's
Yeah.
not the way you're going to go in
Yeah.
the long term.
I got one on Diggs from last night. He did a charity event here where he had families, single mothers, and kids in, and was giving out gift bags, fed them a great meal, and we did an interview with him. And he was asked what he did over his mini bye week. And he said he basically stayed in. He goes, there'll be time to explore Boston. And then he left. Last words, sort of like Randy Moss-esque when we talked to Randy for the first time when he got traded here. He goes, we're on a mission. And I was like, this guy's like Brian Cox. He's like Randy Moss. He's like Rodney Harrison. We're on a mission.
What
Beetle.
about his new baby?
Yeah,
He did
see the
mention
baby.
He did mention that he saw his kids. He did mention that last night. But I was talking
Well, like he
more
has a
in the
brand new
football
one
eyes.
Thursday.
Yeah.
Cardi B had a new
said he-
baby on Thursday.
Said he saw his son and his kids, which was important to him. But I was talking more the football side. Like, we're on a mission. And I just feel like that competitive spirit is elevating. Yeah, there he is right there.
And what
for
did he
those
get?
Watching.
What did he get?
Spider-Man.
Spider-Man?
Yeah. So, yeah, he went over to the face painting area. And it's a very nice event. They opened up the Optum Club. We were there with him. But I think
Nice, very nice.
But I think to me, like, this story with Diggs is one of my favorites this year, just in terms of how unexpected it was. In terms of, one, just his performance coming off, a 31-year-old coming off the ACL, but the leadership, the competitive spirit. And it reminds me of those past Patriots that just their approach, it just sort of resonates and lifts up the entire team.
Mike, when you look at the AFC playoff picture right now, who are the teams? We'll start here.
Yeah.
Who are the best three teams in the AFC playoffs right now?
All right. So I was very impressed with Denver. I don't know if you guys felt the same way. I thought that defense looks ferocious to me, and they're doing it without their top cornerback. So I would put them in the mix, put Buffalo in the mix, and I'd put the Patriots. So those would be my top three. I didn't put Indy in there. I have to be honest with you. I have not seen them that much. Something tells me they're going to go into Kansas City this week, and we're going to be looking at them differently after this week than now. But I have to say that's a pretty uninformed take, just because I have not watched them.
Right.
But the other teams I've watched, obviously this one very closely. Disagree, agree. What are your guys' top three in terms of top three teams in the AFC?
I actually, I agree with you. Pats, Denver, Buffalo.
Yes.
Are the three.
I agree.
I'm starting to buy in on Denver, man.
Yep.
I am.
I mean, Bo Nix outplayed Patrick Mahomes at the end of that game, and I know Bo Nix is not. You might watch a different game and say, how are they going to do this? But I don't know. I saw a pretty clutch quarterback. No, you're not buying?
He's not. He does not
does
like
not
Bo.
like
I
Bo.
never liked Bo Nix.
He's a nice player. He's a nice player. Doesn't do it for me. I watch a lot of quarterbacks play. There's so many more better than him.
With Sean Payton, though.
The combination is he will get you into the playoffs. He did it last year. He got in the playoffs last year. Got to give him credit. At some point, I got to recognize the damn scoreboard. And I watched the kid play, and at times he looks like dog ass for 2 quarters. But there's something that the moxie that he has to find a way to string 2 or 3 big drives together or some big throws to come back. He did it against Eagles. We were on the road somewhere. I think we're in Buffalo, so we got to watch a lot of those games for today. I watched him then, and I'm like, holy crap, he played pretty well against them. Played well against the Chiefs. Like, those are good teams he's playing. And winning. Got to give him credit for it. So I do. But I don't think you could say, you know what, we're down by 14 in a game. Let's go throw it 55 times, put him in a gun. That's not him.
Well, I think that's the key against Denver. If you're playing them,
they play keep away.
Get ahead of them early and make them get away from
Tebow,
that.
Tebow his ass, yeah.
But I was very impressed. I think Drake in this offense, I think they would have trouble with that defense. I'm not saying they couldn't beat them, but scoring over 20 against Denver, I think could be tough. So that's one, and I'm not ready to write off Buffalo. I know 2 weeks ago they went down to Miami and laid an egg. This past week against Tampa, get a chance to watch a little bit of that. I'd beware of writing their obituary early. And honestly, Beetle, I think that Baltimore game's going to be tough for the Patriots. Not ready to write off that team either, but you asked me for 3, and I'd probably put them right below the cut there. But those are my 3.
I'm with you. I agree with you on this. And I want nothing to do with the Patriots going to Denver. Okay, nothing.
I get it.
Nothing. Avoid that at all costs. That's the trip-up game. That's where they could trip up to a team that you don't totally respect.
On the road against Denver?
Yeah, that doesn't feel right to me. Ben is in Arizona for Mike Reiss. Hi, Ben.
What's up, Ben?
Hey, guys. Good afternoon. So I know the Patriots didn't want to maybe disrupt who they already have in the locker room, and that's why they weren't active at the trade deadline. But we all know that high ankle sprains can linger and be difficult to manage. And I fear that's what might happen with Milton Williams. I think back to Gronkowski, that Super Bowl kind of run that he suffered against Baltimore. So especially since he's a big guy, always in the trenches, at that line of scrimmage. So I feel that I don't know if he'll be close to 100% even after the 4 games, if he comes back maybe 6 or 7. So my question is, why not take a look at a player like Christian Wilkins? He'd probably be cheap, and it's been a few weeks now. We've seen Barmer go down as well, too. So that's my biggest concern. And so don't know how you feel about that. Want to get your thoughts. So thanks, guys.
Definitely. Awesome, Ben. So one pushback just on one thing, Ben, I would say, I don't think they didn't add at the trade deadline just because they didn't want to disrupt chemistry. Chemistry was definitely part of their consideration as to whether they made a move or not, but I think it was more just the market was high. Like, I don't know if any defensive tackles were traded. No running backs were traded. So if a deal was right and it fit, I think they would have done it. I just don't think they were giving up a 2 or a 3 for Jalen Phillips, like a pass rusher. And so I think it was more chemistry was a factor, but it was more prices. And I think Wilkins, I could be wrong on this, Ben, but I know originally when he became available, it was more of a health thing. When teams checked in on him, he had health issues that would lead him to not be signable from what I understood, and this was back in maybe the preseason or training camp. I don't know if that's changed. The fact he's not on a team or you haven't heard anything about him makes me think maybe it hasn't changed. But I think the first question on Wilkins would be, where is the medical before you take the next step?
Mark in Connecticut. Hey, Mark.
How are we doing this afternoon, guys?
Hey, Mark. Doing great.
How we doing?
Yeah, not bad. Mike, I just had a quick question. I know Stefon Diggs signed a 3-year deal in the offseason, but I'm hearing a lot of people say that he's a 1-year rental. So I'd like to get the breakdown of, like, this 3-year. Is it an actual 3-year deal, 60-something million, or is it basically just a 1-year deal and the other 2 are, like, void years?
Okay, I know Beetle's going to pull it up. It's a great question, and I think I look at it in a couple different layers here. The first is they can get out after this year, I think, with minimal penalty. Beetle will confirm me on that, the way it was structured. But the second piece is, I think they're going to probably, besides the financials, have to ask themselves the question, Stefon Diggs, the first year was great, like Randy Moss in 2007. His first year was great.
It went bad in year 3.
Is there any concern that it would turn like it turned with Randy a little bit at the end there, and they would have to assess that? I think right now it would be hard for me to think it would turn. I think he's been everything they could have hoped for and then some. Yeah. But this is the first year, and if you talk to the people in Buffalo, they'll tell you the first year was the best. And then it turned in Buffalo, Minnesota. They might tell you something similar. I wasn't there in either spot, so it's a little hard for me to say. Just passing along what they. I
will tell you this: the contract is pretty easy to get out of at any point. It is set up so that if they get out after year 1, they are only incurring $9 and change in dead cap money.
Yep.
It's a very small hit. And his cap number will go from what this year was 8.7 to 26.5 in both year 2 and year 3 of the deal. That is a big, sizable number.
That reminds me of the Revis contract back in the day, too. Remember
Yes.
the
Good one.
jumps?
Good one.
And so if someone's referring to this as a one-and-done type of deal, they're not wrong. The way the deal was structured was for them to get through year 1 and potentially move on. So, yeah, that's a possibility. Or they, restructure and do a new deal and rip up what they've got and figure, you know what I mean? There's other possibilities, but the way the current contract is structured, if they move on after this year, after one season, it's a $9.7 million dead hit.
And if
it essentially was a 1-year deal for $20 million.
Yeah. And if we go back to when they signed him, remember what the conversation was. 31-year-old receiver coming off a torn ACL. So that's why they protected themselves. And so let's put ourselves in the position of the Patriots. Knowing what we know right now from what we've seen, what would you do? And I'll lead off. I'm sticking with it. I want him back in year 2. Now, we got more time to go here the rest of the season, but why wouldn't you? That would be my thought. Yep. But it is based on the way the deal's structured. That's why it's a conversation.
I don't love that number for next year for Stefon Diggs.
Yeah, $26.5 million on the cap.
Oh, well, if you win it this year, or if you get close to winning it, that's another guy you want to saddle up with next year. We talked about this in the offseason. You got to pay people. You got to pay people to come here. It's an overpayment. Carlton Davis is an overpayment.
Is it, though? Is it really an overpayment for Diggs next year?
Calvin Ridley's sitting there with another busted fibula, and people are crying because he didn't come here.
$26 million for a receiver these days is short money.
That's the way I sort of feel.
Yeah.
And, man,
Waddle and Hill are making $5 million more than that down at Miami East.
I love spending other people's money. Sign me up. He's back. He's back.
We're back.
Yeah. I mean, would I ultimately keep him? Yeah, I would. I just don't love the giant balloon number for next year that kind of puts him, nearing the top 10 in the league. He's not that anymore. It's not what he is. He's very valuable to this team, though, the way he's played and the way he has led.
What is it about him that you think is, like, for me, one of the elite parts is the hands. It's like you throw it. The gamer. Like, you throw it. And I know he had one over the middle that
I still
they
don't
initially
understand
said.
that one, too. I didn't think it moved. I didn't think the ball... I don't know. You see that clip on Twitter, too, of them showing other catches like that across the middle? I'm surprised that got overturned.
It's not his hands, for me.
Yeah.
I think his best ability is his ability to find space and find
the openings.
The openings within a defense,
Yep.
to me, is just elite. He just knows where to be.
Yeah. It's like an innate feel.
Yeah, he knows how to feel for it, and he gets there,
Yep.
and that, to me, is what makes him so great, because he's not physically the bet. I mean, he's not the... How tall is he?
6 foot.
Yeah. 6 foot tall receiver who just knows where to be to find himself open.
Yeah.
Right?
Made a big difference for Drake when we think about all the reasons we talked about the offensive line and Drake and his emergence. I mean, having him, I think, has been huge for Drake. I'm not sure Drake could be at this level without it. I'm not saying that's the reason, but huge factor.